So the key to Bruno Fernandes' opening goal was the direct play in the lead up as well as the counter pressing, and it stemmed from the tactical versatility that we've seen from Amorim recently, going a lot more direct from Onana. And I have thought this for a while, what is the point in building out under pressure if you aren't then going to transition play quickly in order to take advantage of the space that the opposition has created by pushing their midfield high? Because if you don't do this, the opposition just end up getting back behind the ball a lot of the time, and we still have to break them down anyway. You might as well do what United did in this game, which is go long looking for Xerxes, Mazraoui on the right, or Dalot or Xerxes on the left, not necessarily expecting them to win the initial header, but hoping the midfield and wing backs are backing up play to be able to win the second ball. And this is something that Amorim has opted to do recently instead of playing through the centre. Here as Onana has possession, you can see that there's the diamond shape with Bruno Fernandes at the point, Lindelof and De Ligt either side, and Onana at the base. If United were looking to play through the pressure, you'd want the player in that pivot position at the top of the diamond, Bruno Fernandes in this phase of play, to drop towards Onana, reducing the distance between them and opening up the opportunity to play a bounce pass around Marino's pressure, getting the ball out to Lindelof with space to carry the ball into, simultaneously taking Moreno out of the game and drawing Odegaard higher up the pitch, opening up space behind him, with Euro then able to pull wide, opening up the opportunity to take Ranieri out of the game as he eventually is forced to engage Lindelof and leave Euro open on his outside. However, Onana goes for a more direct strategy, and I'm going to tactically break down why Ruben Amorim's set up higher up the pitch was key to Garnacho eventually winning the free kick that Bruno Fernandes would score from. But before I come on to that, if you want to check out any cheap, good quality football jerseys, go over to dragonjersey.com. They've got a variety of different current season and retro jerseys, and we'll have the new shirts when they do come out in the summer. Depending on where you live, you can get 7 to 12 day delivery time, as well as a 30-day money back guarantee. But if you do want to check out any of the information before you buy, they do have their WhatsApp and email on the site, and you can also use code Atlantis at checkout for a 10% discount for a limited time, and so I'll leave that linked in the comment section and description below. So Onana goes long looking for Mazraoui, and as Mazraoui is about to lose his header, which isn't actually an issue and I'll explain why in just a second, you can see that United have 3 players in Garnacho, Casemiro and Eriksen, all in close proximity to where the header is going to go. And that's even with Xerxes off the pitch as well at this point, I think. And the reason this is important is for the same reason that Mazraoui not winning that header initially isn't that important, because the strategy is to win the second ball straight away or counter press immediately if the opposition get possession in order to win the ball back as quickly as possible. And both of these require a high volume of your players in close proximity to the ball, and this shows that Ruben Amorim, even if it is only temporarily, is moving away from the positional play influence of Pep Guardiola, moving to a style that's closer to Jurgen Klopp's 2010 to 2013 Borussia Dortmund gegenpressing style. Now to be fair, Xerxes, Eriksen and Casemiro are certainly not optimal for a counter-pressing system, because all 3 lack the burst of acceleration over shorter distances to give them the advantage when trying to win a second ball, or counter-press the opposition player when they receive the ball. Now someone like Victor Osimhen would be perfect to play as a centre-forward when it comes to winning the initial knockdown, which if done consistently well is going to give United a better chance of winning the second ball, with Osimhen linking play through more direct means than Xerxes. But Osimhen would also be valuable when it came to moving quickly to get to a loose ball, or applying pressure quickly and with high intensity. Stick Ugarte back into central midfield instead of Casemiro, take Eriksen out for Sekou Kone, and either push Bruno Fernandes slightly higher up in the front line or move to more of a 5-3-2. With Garnacho and Osimhen up front, and I think you've got a fantastic counter-pressing front 5, with Garnacho, Bruno and Osimhen all sharp and intense with their pressing, and Ugarte and Sekou Kone behind, who are both very front foot pressers when it comes to anticipating where the ball is going to drop and moving a second or so quicker than the opposition in order to make an interception or tackle. And in the lead up to Bruno Fernandes' free kick, we see Garnacho's counter-pressing qualities here. As soon as Calafiori heads the ball into Trossard's path, Garnacho is already right on his back, and he just waits for the heavy touch, and then is able to use his pace to accelerate in front of Trossard to get to the loose ball. And from here I think we see the issue with using someone like Christian Eriksen in the front 3, instead of someone with greater pace and better goal scoring movement. Garnacho needs Eriksen to react quicker, and make an arcing run around Gabriel a lot sooner, to not just open up a passing lane for Garnacho to find Eriksen with a reverse pass, but also to draw Gabriel away from Garnacho, leaving him 1v1 against Saliba on the edge of the box. Now if we had a Osimhen or a Gyökeres in this position, I think they also look to make a run across Garnacho, but what they do to create the space initially is to pull left to drag Saliba deeper rather than Gabriel, forcing Gabriel to be the centre-back that pushes out to engage Garnacho, before then checking their run and making the run back across Garnacho, in behind Gabriel rather than in front of him, looking for a similar reverse pass or dragging Saliba over to United's right side, opening up the space on the left side of the box for Garnacho to drive into. Eriksen does eventually look to make the movement, but he doesn't do it with enough intensity to open up the passing lane in time, and in the end Garnacho does well to drive goal side of Trossard to eventually win the free kick which Bruno Fernandes would score from. Now Højlund did come on in the second half, and I have to say he was pretty clumsy and wasteful. You can keep moaning that your teammates aren't creating chances for you, but at the end of the day, it's basic mistakes like taking a first touch too square which is letting him down. And this was actually an excellent example of an aggressive press, as we saw United in the 83rd minute at 1-1 pressing high in a 3-4-3, with Amorim being a lot more offensive in this game, with the front three narrow and the wing backs high. Garnacho and Højlund do a very diligent job of cutting the passing lanes with their positioning, forcing Raya over to the Arsenal right side, and now you can see that Collier applies pressure to Saliba, with Garnacho continuing to hold this higher, narrower position in order to cut the passing lane back to Raya, and from here you can see United are still pressing in a 3-4-3, but I think in this situation, Arteta and other positional play coaches need to start implementing a more relationist approach, allowing someone like Mikel Moreno on this left side to drift over to Arsenal's right and look to open up a passing lane between Collier and Højlund to receive the ball as a free man. Now this doesn't happen, and Saliba switches the ball to the far side of the box with Gabriel, and fair play to both Casemiro and Garnacho because their intensity in this piece of pressure is what creates the opportunity for Højlund. Garnacho turns and races over to Gabriel, simultaneously cutting off any pass inside into Martinelli, which limits Gabriel's options, and because Mazraoui is also pushed up high on that side, he's ready to press Lewis Skelly. And so Gabriel ends up playing a straight pass into Marino as he's dropping off with his back to goal, which is a perfect trigger for Casemiro to follow the movement and apply pressure on Marino's first touch with his back to goal. And as Casemiro is moving on to Marino, you'll also notice the positioning of Garnacho and Højlund, which again was critical to this chance being created. But before I break down why, a quick reminder, I do have a Patreon where I've just released 2 new articles around the Red Bull Louis Vuitton takeover of Paris FC. You can get a 7-day free trial on that, as well as access to my in-game Instagram group chat, so I'll leave that linked in all the usual places, the description, comment section, eye above and on the end screen after the video. So as Casemiro is applying pressure to Mikel Moreno on the edge of the Arsenal box, you can see that both Garnacho and Højlund are positioned goal side of the Arsenal players they were pressing, Rice and Gabriel, meaning that when the ball is won back by Casemiro, both players are in optimal positions to race through on goal, something that usually isn't thought of that much but logically is essential to a pressing situation, whether this is from the opposition's build-up or in a counter-pressing situation, as it means you can easily release one of your players into a goal-scoring position once you win the ball, and the opposition player now has to try to recover in order to get back goal side, rather than Højlund or Garnacho having to beat the player in a 1v1. However, even though Casemiro does fantastically well to win the ball back, Højlund's first touch is terrible. He should be getting the ball out of his feet, either setting himself up to hit the ball first time with his left foot, or even moving the ball straight forward efficiently, drawing Raya in and opening up the opportunity to lay the pass off to Casemiro, who could then finish into an open net. But Højlund does neither. Not only is his touch far too central, but Højlund's movement is so clunky that it looks like he's running in mud, and Declan Rice is able to get back and put in a well-timed tackle, but really Højlund should be finishing the chance, and it's not even just a chance, it's a clear-cut chance. And so overall I was impressed by Amorim's change of style, utilising direct passes and counter-pressing situations in order to progress the ball forward into chance-creating positions, but it is still evident that United not only lack pace and power in the midfield and forward line, but also quality in forward positions as well. So thank you for watching. If you do want to check out any cheap, good quality football jerseys, go over to dragonjersey.com. I'll leave it linked in the description and comment section below, and you can use code Atlantis at checkout for a 10% discount. And if you do want to sign up to read any of my articles or watch another one of my videos, I'll leave them linked on the end screen now.